All right. Thanks for being here, you guys. Welcome to another DirectLink Community Class. This is our holiday gadget gift guide. My name is Connor, and joining me today is Erica Meyer. She'll also be providing info for the folks that are joining us on Zoom too. So for the folks joining us on Zoom, we also have people here in person at our DirectLink community room. We like to sort of do this option now to let folks join us remotely.
Turn your video on.
There we go. Now folks can see me, hopefully. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, now everybody can see me, I think. Awesome. So again, we've got folks joining us through Zoom and folks here in person. For folks, oh, sorry, got ahead of myself there. So the presentation that I have here up on the screen is also what folks can see on Zoom as well. And I just want to note that we are recording this session today, but nobody online or here in person is being recorded, just my face in the presentation so that you can go back and watch it later. All right, so just a couple of housekeeping things here real quick. So I mentioned that the class will be recorded and it's going to be available within a week at our community class page at directlink.coop/classes. And those of you on Zoom, if you have any questions or comments, you're going to use the chat function here. I keep pointing this way. Sorry, guys, on Zoom. I'm also addressing people here in the audience, so I appreciate your leeway a little bit. If you don't see this little toolbar here and you're on a laptop or a desktop computer, just hover your mouse over the screen. It should pop up. And if you're on a tablet or a phone, just tap your finger on there and you should see that toolbar where you can ask any chats. I will have the chat window open here, and I'm just making sure that you guys actually have the ability to chat if you need to. Yes, you do. Awesome. So let's see. That covers, I think, the basics. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to raise a hand here in person or put them in the chat on Zoom. We've got a good amount of content to get through today, so we may go over our 1 hour time slot. If anybody needs to leave, feel free, no worries, but we've got a good amount to get through. So, okay, so I'm going to launch a quick poll for the folks online and then ask folks here in person, how many connected devices do you have at home? Let's say maybe 1 to 4 devices. How many people think they've just got like a couple smartphones, maybe a TV, a computer, something like that connected at home? Maybe 4 to 8 different devices at home. Okay, we're getting there. 8 to 12. And then maybe 12 or more. Okay, we're getting there. I'm in the 12 or more category myself. And I've got some folks that are answering the questions as well on Zoom. Okay, here we go. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Looks like we're all sort of in the same realm here. Okay, so yeah, 4 to 8 devices, 8 to 12 devices. I just bring this up because as we talk about these different gadgets and devices today, it's important to keep in mind that they all use a portion of your internet bandwidth at home. And if you ever start to experience any slow loading times or your movies or your TV shows start to buffer with that spinning wheel that we all hate, right? Give us a call. We want to make sure you have a smooth experience with your devices and make sure that you can connect to your devices. Your devices can connect to your Wi-Fi and your internet smoothly. So if you have any issues with stuff loading slowly or performing slowly, give us a call and we'll see if we can find a remedy for you. So one of the things that we mentioned here, and I'm going to stop sharing these results so the folks on Zoom can see, just kind of give a budget of about 5 to 10 megabits per second or so per device for optimal results. So when we say this, the different things that you do online, like video call or load websites, send email, watch movies and TV shows, those all use a portion of your internet speed. And as you do more and more things online and add more and more devices, you're using up some of that bandwidth. So again, try to budget about 5 to 10 megabits per second per device. And we can talk about this more later after the class if we need to. And again, if you have any issues with slow loading times or slow connections, please give us a call. We want to make sure that you guys all have a good experience. Real quick before I play the super fun video, I just want to note that for all the things that we're talking about today, these are not necessarily an endorsement from DirectLink for any of these devices, and I'm not necessarily an expert. These are all just things that I either have had personal experience with or that I own, and I've done a good amount of research on these things too, but I don't pretend to necessarily be an expert in everything. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. All right, I've got a fun little video to play real quick.
Hey, pizza, I'm hungry.
All right, just wait your turn.
When it's ready, can you just shove it in my mouth?
Don't you be
I'll break the atrocity channel.
Hydrate level 4, please.
Is it ready?
Here you go.
Oh boy, Mom. You sure can hydrate a pizza. No, I'm sorry, I missed that whole thing.
Al, I'm just worried about Jennifer. Why isn't she home yet?
I'm not sure.
So does anybody remember the scene from Back to the Future Part 2 when she hydrates a pizza in just a couple seconds, right? We're not quite there yet with hydrating food right away instantaneously with a pretty delicious looking pizza, honestly. But we are kind of getting there with some of these different futuristic gadgets and devices we have now. The Jetsons is really becoming a reality, and I've actually seen some really great articles, 10 devices from the Jetsons that are now a reality. You've got smartwatches and all sorts of things now, and we'll get into some of those. But it's just funny because this is, I think, 2018, the time frame that they're supposed to be in Back to the Future 2. Now, some of the devices that they use, like you can see Marty over there, or Marty Jr., I think, in this one, using a pair of glasses where he can answer the phone and do phone calls and things. So we have virtual reality headsets now that let folks play games and interact with each other. So some of these things in these movies from the 80s are now a reality, which I think is kind of cool. All right.
Hey.
So let's get started. We'll talk about some home entertainment devices first. We're going to go over some smart TVs, some streaming devices, and then gaming systems as well. So the information I'm going to give you is, in case maybe you've got somebody looking for some electronics for maybe a Christmas gift, or you're looking to take advantage of some deals for yourself. I know that Black Friday and Cyber Monday just happened, so some of those deals aren't quite still there, but there's still a lot of sales going on, and there's going to be continuous sales throughout the years, throughout the year as well, and maybe just some good info for next holiday season as well. All right, so let's jump into it and talk about some smart TVs. So TV technology is constantly improving, but there's still a ton of terms tossed around that can get a little bit confusing, right? So let's dive into some of these things so you have a little bit better understanding if you're looking for a new TV this holiday season, or maybe somebody else is. And let's talk about just some of the two main differences in the screen technology. So we've got LED, we've got QLED, and we've got OLED, and we'll talk about what these mean. So a standard LED screen uses several layers to show your picture on the screen. You've got the backlight here, and then you've got the LED display, the color layer, which shows the different colors, and then the viewing display. A QLED TV is a little bit different, and the Q, just for a fun fact, stands for quantum dot. Doesn't really mean anything special, but it's essentially just a separate layer in front of the backlight. It allows it to more smoothly receive blue light and then transfer that into red and green lights, which our eyes perceive better. So a QLED TV they say it shows more colors that the human eye can perceive. So it's just a little bit better picture than the LED TV, but the OLED on the left here is considered really to be the top form of screen technology right now. And instead of a backlight layer, the individual pixels in the screen themselves are lit up. And the pixels are essentially just tiny little frames, like tiny little dots that all make up the picture of the screen and the color. The more pixels you have, the better resolution that you have on the screen. So this allows, when the pixels themselves are lit up individually rather than having a light behind them light up the color, this allows for way better color contrast, and it's way better for low light scenes as well. So you ever watch a show or a movie that has a dark scene in the show and you found it kind of difficult to see some of it, the lighting is sort of washed out in some places? That's really because the screen's backlight was still showing a light in the dark part of the screen. But with an OLED screen, there is no backlight. So any darker areas on the screen, they won't be lit up at all. So that makes OLED a great option for low light scenes and just overall color contrast. There's also a couple other things to consider. TVs have something that's called a refresh rate. That's measured in hertz, and that's the number of frames per second that the screen can naturally produce without any enhancements. So higher rates help produce smooth, seamless pictures. And how they're measured right now is 60 hertz or 120 hertz. That just means the frames per second that the video was shot in. So if you shoot video in 60 frames per second, that means just every second of video you have, there's 60 different frames. So the more frames there are, the smoother that picture looks, especially in slow-mo, things like that. So what that means in terms of the TV technology, the higher hertz it has, the smoother the picture is going to be. This is really important for fast-paced video like sports and video games, action movies, where there's a lot of stuff going on the screen all at once. Okay. The other thing to consider is the screen resolution itself. 4K right now is pretty much the best resolution that there is, although some manufacturers are advertising 8K resolution. It's a little bit interesting because there's not much content being filmed and broadcast in 8K yet. So really 4K is still the best full HD. Actually, it's better than full HD. And what that means, 4K means that there is 4 times as many pixels in the screen as a standard HD picture. So full HD, I'm going to throw some numbers at you here, but I promise they'll make sense. Full HD is 1,920 horizontal pixels by 1,080 pixels vertically. You ever heard the term 1080p before when talking about HD? That's what that is referring to. 4K, on the other hand, is 4 times as many total pictures. You've got twice as many pixels horizontally and twice as many vertically. So 4K, meaning 4 times as many as HD. 4K is essentially just the beefed up version. Okay. Now, talking about price a little bit, OLED will generally be a bit more expensive, usually by at least a few $100. The 2 screenshots that I have here, the LG OLED, these were 2 very popular TVs that were on sale this Black Friday. The LG OLED, I think, was like $1,900 MSRP for a 65-inch TV. It was on sale on Black Friday and Cyber Monday for about $1,200 or $1,300. And honestly, TV tech has come a long way, and these sorts of TVs would have been 5 times this price, you know, even 10 years ago with less technology. If you wanted to get a 65-inch TV 10 years ago, they would have been significantly more expensive. TVs are much, much cheaper nowadays than they were even a decade ago. And then the one on the right here, it's the TCL QLED one. This one goes for $1,000 MSRP for a 65-inch TV, and I saw these on sale for $600 on Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So $600 for a 65-inch TV with this kind of technology is actually pretty amazing. I wanted to grab one of these for myself. I waited too long and I didn't get to grab one. So maybe next year. Again, the tech is going to increase and the prices are really only going to go down over time. So you can expect to see deals similar to this again for future deals and again next holiday season too. So when we talk about smart TVs, we're really talking about the operating system inside of them. Most smart TVs now have an operating system that allows you to watch your subscription streaming services like Netflix or Hulu or HBO, those different things, even cable TV if you have maybe a Sling or a Fubo or a different streaming service. And in many cases, again, you can use the included software in the television itself, use the remote that comes with the TV to watch those things, rather than using an external streaming device like a Fire Stick or a Roku, for example, which we're going to talk about next. Okay, so some folks here may not have a smart TV, or maybe you're like me and your smart TV just isn't very smart. I have a smart TV at home that has an operating system that I'm just not a huge fan of. It's sort of hard to search for and download different apps. Like the TV itself didn't have HBO Max and Amazon Prime and a couple other services included on it. So I had to try and download those apps and sign into my account, right? But it was just a little bit clunky and sort of hard to use. So instead, what I do is I use a Fire TV stick at home to watch my shows and movies. Does anybody use a Fire TV stick or have they had one? Okay, so it sounds like we're pretty familiar with those. So again, this is just a separate device, plugs right into the back of your TV through one of your HDMI ports. So each brand really has several options depending on the types of features that you want. Now we're pretty much getting to 4K and non-4K devices. The The more expensive ones generally have better processing power too, better chips and guts inside of the device itself so that they perform faster. You can move around faster throughout your apps, load things a little bit better. It takes less time to boot up when you turn your TV on, all that good stuff. So just for example here, the Fire TV Stick now has several models available. And actually all these are on sale right now on Amazon. The Lite, it's called the Fire TV Stick Lite. It's the only one that doesn't have volume or power controls on the remote, because most of them now you can actually turn your TV off and on and adjust your volume with the remote itself. But the Lite doesn't have that. That one's on sale for $15 right now. Cheap stocking stuffer if maybe you've got a guest TV or somebody you're just looking to grab a gadget for. The standard HD version, so just the full HD, not 4K, that one's on sale for $20. The 4K one's on sale for $25, and then the 4K Max is on sale for $35 right now. And I've put the MSRP prices down here as well. Now, the difference between the 4K and the 4K Max is, again, that the Max just has a better processor. It's a little bit faster. It moves around quicker as you're clicking around throughout your screen. The Roku sticks are also a fantastic option. These ones are on sale through December 3rd. I just checked today. The 4K one is on sale for 50% off for just $25. So that's a great option. If you like the Roku environment, maybe you've got an older Roku and you're looking to upgrade. The main difference between, again, the 4K and the 4K Plus for the Roku, a little bit faster for the 4K Plus, but it also has a voice remote that you can use to say, hey, Roku, and control it with your voice, tell it to open different apps and play different shows and movies. Okay, so just a couple more points real quick on the Roku one. So the 4K Plus, it has a rechargeable battery versus the non-Plus one, which uses AAA batteries. Just kind of a nice little thing if you're worried about having batteries and just recharging it. And you can even plug in a 3.5mm headphone jack to listen with a pair of headphones right into the remote as well. I think that's a pretty nice feature that's exclusive to Roku. If you want a private viewing experience, just plug a pair of headphones right into the remote. But the top one, the Ultra, which I kind of have listed down here, that one also has Bluetooth. So if you have a pair of Bluetooth headphones, you can use those as well. Same sort of thing with the Google Chromecast. They've got a 4K or a standard HD option. The 4K comes in at $50, which is the same price as the other ones across the different manufacturers. And they have a non-4K one for just $20 less. So just depends on which one you want. Nice thing about these different things is most of them now use voice controls. So the Google one is, of course, powered with the Google Assistant. And the Amazon one is powered by Alexa. And sorry if anybody's phones or devices are going off anywhere when I say those words. So again, it just sort of depends which one you like better. Me personally, I'm sort of starting to like the Google interface a little bit better. We're going to talk about this in a little bit, but I got on Black Friday a smart home tablet, essentially. Plays music, you can do video calls with it, watch shows and movies on there. And it integrates right in with Hey Google. So you can do different things to control your smart home and your voice. And we'll talk about that in a little bit too. But I used to use Alexa, I used to use Amazon devices, but I'm sort of starting to like the Google ones better. And that's just sort of my preference. All right, so let's talk about gaming systems a little bit. I don't know if anybody in here is necessarily a gamer right now. Maybe there's people in the family that have been talking about some of these things. So we're just going to discuss some of the different options for the console itself, what sorts of games are offered, prices, and some of the different features. So the first one to talk about is the Nintendo Switch. This is a great option for those that are looking for a mobile gaming system, because really the great thing about the Switch is you can put it into a dock and play it on your TV, or you can pick it up and play it with you on the go. It's a really, really great system. I actually have 2 of these at home. And these are the system that offers classic Nintendo games, Mario Party, Mario Kart, Pokemon games, Donkey Kong, Legend of Zelda, those kind of more family style of games. That's what the Switch is going to be oriented towards. And right now there's 3 different options. The standard one on the left is just the standard Nintendo Switch. It has a 6.2-inch LCD touchscreen on the device itself where you can play on the go, or again, just dock it and play it on your TV in the living room. Comes with 32 gigabytes of storage. You're going to use that storage as you download different games. It is Wi-Fi connectivity only, which I'll talk about here in just a moment. And then that one runs $300 MSRP. It comes with two of the, you can kind of see on the screen there, it's got two of the, they're called Joy-Cons. So each one of those little Joy-Cons can be used as one controller. You just tilt them sideways and it's just a little controller you play in your hands, or you can hook it up to the big controller and play it just like an old school style gaming controller. The new one that came out last year is the Switch OLED. We talked about the OLED technology a little bit and how that works. The screen is a little bit bigger too. It's a 7-inch OLED touchscreen. And I'll say that the graphics are awesome on that screen. I've got one of the OLEDs at home. The colors are really vibrant. The movement is nice and smooth, and it's just a great gaming experience just for the system itself. This one is Wi-Fi or LAN capable. That stands for local area network. And essentially that is just plugging your Ethernet cord directly into the device so that you have a wired internet connection rather than using Wi-Fi. That can provide a little bit more of a, it's just a little bit more of a reliable connection. Sometimes you can get faster speeds with a directly wired connection because you're not fighting with anything else in the air over a Wi-Fi signal, any interference or any objects or walls or anything like that. I have mine hooked up to an Ethernet cord, same thing at home with my TV itself. TV is plugged directly into an Ethernet cord just to ensure that that reliable connection is there. So the difference there between the two is the OLED you can plug into directly into your internet connection versus the regular one is you can't. And then the OLED is just $50 more MSRP than the regular Switch. And then they offer a Lite, which is mobile play only. You can't dock that one on a TV. That is only meant for mobile play. The screen is a little bit smaller, but it still has the same quality screen as the regular Nintendo Switch. That one's Wi-Fi only, and it's $200 MSRP. So again, these are a great kind of family-oriented console for those sort of Mario Party, Mario Kart type of games, other classic Nintendo games as well. So that's the Nintendo Switch system. And then you get into some of the more modern, I suppose, gaming systems, Xbox and PlayStation. So Xbox and PlayStation have been around for a while now, but the current generation of consoles, you've got the Xbox Series X and the S. And there's a couple differences between these two. Really, number one is price. The Series X runs $500 MSRP, and the S is actually on sale right now. I saw it this morning. You can get the holiday console for $240. That's a pretty crazy deal for a gaming system of this magnitude. The holiday console doesn't really mean anything. They just package it in a box that is holiday themed. But there's a couple other differences between these two Xboxes. The S is digital games only. It does not have a port to insert DVDs or discs to play games. So that's one thing to note. Versus the X, you can play DVDs, Blu-rays, and then digital games on that as well. The X supports 4K display, whereas the Series S only gets up to 1440 pixels. So that's a little bit above full HD, but is not quite 4K. And I bring that up because a lot of times gamers now, they've got these crazy good screens that are 4K, just awesome. You know, we talked about OLED resolution. So you might want a device that can match the resolution that your screen has, so you can just get the best picture that is possible. Because if you've got a screen that is only maybe 1080p, which is standard HD, but your device can play in 4K, you're kind of missing out on some of that resolution with the screen, and vice versa as well. If you've got a screen that can play 4K, but your device only goes in 1440 pixels, you're again missing out on some of that resolution. But I just try to mention that to let folks know. Then we get into the PlayStation. So the differences between these two are some of the hardware. The controllers are a little bit different, but there are some games that are exclusive to each system. So just as an example, the Halo series of games is exclusive to Xbox, which is owned by Microsoft. And for PlayStation, there's several other exclusive games like the Spider-Man series owned by Sony, which is the manufacturer of the PlayStation. Let's see which other ones. The new Final Fantasy game, Gran Turismo, which is a racing game, Ratchet and Clank, which has always been on PlayStation. So just know that if you're maybe looking at some of these for a family member or for yourself, and you want certain games, Just know that some of them are exclusive to one of the platforms. Like for the Halo games example, you can't play them on PlayStation. So I just like to make that known as well. The PS5 has sort of had some supply and demand issues since it came out 2 years ago. They're starting to resolve those, but they're still sometimes kind of hard to find. Those ones run 500 MSRP, but you can do two options with the PlayStation 5, which is cool. You can get one that can play digital discs, DVDs, and Blu-ray, or you can, for $100 cheaper, do digital only. So just downloaded games, digital versions. So you can choose between those two. Supports 4K display on both options, and it has almost a terabyte of storage. Now, the storage, a terabyte may seem like a lot. That is 1,000 gigabytes, which is 1,000 megabytes. But video games now are huge in size. There's some that are that even run up to 150 gigabytes in storage. So if you've got 1 terabyte and you've got 3 games that are 150 gigabytes, you're already using half your storage. So a lot of these, you can get an external storage device to store more things on them. So that's just sort of how the gaming systems work. Any questions on those guys? Okay. So let's talk about some audio devices, namely some portable speakers, which I think are cool, some earbuds, and some over-ear headphones. First up, we'll talk about a couple of portable speakers. These things have exploded in popularity. They're great for backyard hangouts, camping. I use them when we float the Clackamas River in the summertime, play around a golf, you name it. They're not quite that size. They're maybe 6 to 8 inches in size, just a small little thing you can hold right in your hand. Now, both of these options on the screen, they have great audio. The Bose may be just a little bit better in terms of the deep bass that they offer. I actually own a JBL speaker myself, and I love it. I've actually had it fully submerged in water for over a minute, gotten it dirty, dusty, taken it camping. It still works just fine, and it sounds great. So the durability of some of these devices is pretty nice nowadays, in that you can take them anywhere, get them wet, get them dirty, and then they'll still be fine. I would imagine that the Bose speaker would be the same because they have the same durability specs. They're both rated as waterproof and dustproof. Now, just a couple things about how you can use these. So you can actually use multiple speakers at one time to play the same music out of through Bluetooth. The JBL speaker actually has a button right on it that allows you to connect it to another JBL speaker. And then the Bose one does this too. You just have to use their app to do it. It's a really smooth app though. I like it myself. But just the main difference between using multiple speakers, you got to use an app for Bose, and on JBL, there's button directly on there that connects them through Bluetooth. Really the only other difference, they both have 12-hour battery life, which is great. The JBL Flip 6, which is the newest version, uses Bluetooth 5.1 tech, and the Bose uses Bluetooth 4.2. Not a huge difference, just the 5.1 Bluetooth has a little bit better range, so you can take your phone a little bit farther away from it and still have it play music. And then the connection is just a little bit stronger, but honestly, not a huge difference between the Bluetooth technology. Almost the same in price. The JBL runs 130 MSRP, and I checked this morning, it's on sale on Amazon for 89 bucks. And the Bose one runs 150 MSRP, and that one's on sale right now for 130. So with the Bose, you're sort of paying for the name brand a little bit as well. I think we had a question over here.
So with multiple speakers, is there a stereo effect that you just playing the same thing?
What do you mean a stereo effect?
I mean, like part of the sound comes out of one speaker.
Oh, I see. Okay. So the question was, if you're using multiple speakers, what does it sound like? It just plays the exact same thing on multiple speakers. So maybe you're, you've got a get together at home, got one speaker at home in the living room, and then you've got one on the back patio. They're both just playing the same thing. So that's just kind of a nice way to do that. Yes, sir. Do you have a question right here?
What's the distance that people play?
Yeah, in my experience with the JBL, I can get about 40 feet away or so. Now, as Bluetooth technology advances, and I should mention, I don't have the Flip 6, I have the Flip 5, which doesn't have Bluetooth 5.1. But as Bluetooth tech advances, the range that you have will increase. So 5.1, I think they have it billed at about 50 feet or so, something like that. But yeah, I've tested it, and gets to about 40 feet or so for mine before it pretty much just falls off. And it's kind of interesting. You start to kind of walk away, and at some point it'll just be kind of choppy, and then you take a couple more steps and it'll just turn off completely. But I think 40 feet is a pretty decent range, honestly. So again, with these, really just depends on which one you like. If you like the Bose brand, or maybe you've already got other Bose speakers or headphones or something like that. You've already got the app in my case. But again, they are really kind of the same. Again, the Bose, I think, might have a little bit better sound in terms of deep bass. But for the most part, it's really your personal preference. All right, let's talk a little bit about some earbuds and some headphones. So these earbuds that we have listed, the tech has really come a long way, and now a lot of the earbuds that are offered are true wireless, no wires involved at all. You've got two individual earbuds that go in each ear. You may have seen a lot of people around wearing AirPods throughout their day and talking with them on and all kinds of stuff. I actually own the Quiet Comfort over there on the left right now. Great option. It's really cool, the way that they can cancel out noise. They've got great bass, and they integrate really well with your phone, so you can take phone calls on them, play music, all that good stuff. So just a couple things about each of these. The Bose Quiet Comfort, they got great noise canceling levels and great bass. And how the noise canceling works with a lot of these is they actually have external microphones on the outside of the headphone, the earbud themselves. So it picks up the noise coming from your environment, and then it shuts off that noise from getting into your ear. So in the past, or what's called passive noise cancellation, you just had headphones that would cover over your ears, right? And then block out noise that way. But now they use different microphone technology to just pick up that sound and then block it from even going into your ear. It's really cool, actually. It's a little surreal at first, but you get used to it, and then it sounds great. Now, all of these options here, they actually have little charging cases, a little case to put your earbuds in. It charges them, and then the case itself actually holds multiple charges as well. So just as an example, the Quiet Comfort, with the earbuds themselves, you get about 6 hours of battery life. And then when you plug them back in, or you just put them back in the case, you got 2 extra charges with the case. So 18-ish hours, depending on, the volume and the noise canceling levels that you use them on. And then you can charge the case itself. So you've got to charge the headphones inside the case and then plug a cord into the case to charge the case. So that's how all of these options work here. The Quiet Comforts run at $200 MSRP. I don't know that I've seen these on sale recently, but they might be sometime soon. And same thing as the speaker that we talked about. They've got the Bose Music app as well that integrates with it. Inside the app, you can change the EQ levels, change the bass, the treble, change your noise canceling levels, all that kind of stuff. The AirPods, if you've got an iPhone, really any of these will work, but the AirPods just integrate seamlessly with an iPhone. The setup process is pretty cool. You pretty much just hold them right next to your phone and they connect just right away. You don't even have to do anything to connect them. Similar battery life, but the charge case is a little bit better. They claim you get 4 extra charges with the case. And then they've got 2 options for those. You've got the AirPods Pro, which look like the ones here on the screen. They have those sort of little rubber tips that stay in your ear just a little bit better, got beefed up bass and better noise canceling levels than the standard pair, which run for $160 MSRP. And I actually saw, I think these are still on sale for $100 on Amazon right now for the standard pair. Those ones look like your classic Apple iPhone headphones. They don't have the plastic tips that sort of go into your ear. They just sit inside of your ear canal. They still have a lot of the same features, but the sound isn't quite what the Pro is. The bass isn't what the Pro is, and the noise cancellation is a little bit less too. But there's a significant price difference between the two, on sale for $100, and then the Pro's on sale for $230. So that's the AirPods. And then I want to list kind of a budget option as well. Jabra makes some great headphones too. They're a great player in the headphone world. These ones here, these are the Elite 3s, 7 hours of battery life, 4 extra charges with the case. I have also owned these pair before I got my Bose ones. These ones are $80 MSRP and on sale right now for $50. So a great budget option. Again, just with the sound quality, the noise cancellation, and the bass, it's going to be less than maybe the Bose or the AirPods, hence the price. But got great battery life, lots of extra charges with the case. They stay in your ear really well, and they sound pretty good. So those are a great budget option as well for these guys. These are cool. And then we'll talk about some over-the-ear headphones, just a couple of options for these. So the Bose Quiet Comfort 45s, these are amazing headphones. I got to demo these at a store recently. They have 24 hours of battery life on a single charge, which is crazy in my opinion. And even better, the Jabra Elites have 50 hours of battery life, which is just fantastic in terms of how long these things can last now. The nice thing about the Bose is you can listen wirelessly through Bluetooth, or you can plug in an auxiliary cord, which is great. And that helps save you battery even more. Maybe you're on an airplane or you've got low battery, you can plug them right in and save your battery. Those ones run $329 MSRP, but I checked today and they are on sale for $249. That's actually a really great sale for those headphones. And those have that same active noise canceling where they use not only the wraparound for the headphones themselves, but they also use active noise canceling through the microphones themselves, which filters out additional sound. So with those ones, you put them on and you really can't hear anything except your music and deep bass. They sound fantastic. Yeah, great question. So the question was, can these be used in conjunction with your smart TV? So with the Bluetooth tech, a lot of the devices I think all the devices we talked about, the Fire Stick, the Google Chromecast, and the Roku, along with most smart TVs, you can hook up Bluetooth devices to those TVs and to those devices. So that's what I do sometimes, you know, if it's late at night and my girlfriend's asleep, I don't want to be blasting the TV. So I just hook up my headphones right to the TV and I can watch my shows with the audio through my headphones. So with the Bluetooth, you can do that. I think you said you had a Fire Stick at home.
I did.
You did have a Fire Stick? Okay. Well, the Fire Stick and many of the other devices, they do have Bluetooth connectivity, so you can use headphones with them the same way you would use on your phone. So it's really nice that they can do that too. Good question. Now, the Jabra option, again, a little more of a budget purchase. These ones just have passive noise canceling. They don't have those microphones that filter out sound, and they don't wrap all the way around your ear. So you're not going to have that kind of same sound quality. However, they've got awesome battery life. These ones are Bluetooth only. They don't have the option to plug in a cord to listen, but they're on sale right now for 86 bucks, MSRP for $100. Great budget option for a pair of solid headphones with great battery. Okay. Next, let's talk about some smart home devices as we get into sort of some things. We'll talk about some smart speakers, some lighting options, and then some doorbell cameras, which are all the rage now. But first, I've got another super fun video to show you.
Mom? Dad? Hey, Google, what's on my calendar today?
You have one event called House to Yourself.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I when this commercial came out a couple years ago, I thought it was just brilliant, right? Recreating the Kevin McAllister scenes from Home Alone. But it really shows what these different smart home devices have the capability of doing and how you can really just control them all with your voice. It's really cool, the sort of things you can do. So we'll talk about some of these. First up, we'll talk about some smart speaker options. There's a couple of main players sort of in the market right now. Apple also offers some devices through their HomeKit. If you like to live in the Apple ecosphere, I know there's some hardcore Apple fans out there, but today I'm just going to talk about the Amazon options and then the Google ones. So these are the current version of these. These get updated pretty often. The Echoes from Amazon have taken on many different shapes and sizes as they've upgraded the tech. But essentially this one now, this is the Amazon Echo. It is a smart speaker that utilizes the Alexa voice assistant. With these, they just plug right into power, hook up to your Wi-Fi network. You can play music and podcasts. You can even play different games on these things, like you can play Jeopardy and have it play trivia with you, give you fun facts throughout the day. And with these devices, like you saw in that little video, you can control your other smart home devices with these. So we'll talk about some of these other smart home devices, but now, man, you've got so many different electronics that work right in with your Wi-Fi connection, and you can power them with a voice assistant. So just as an example, you saw in that video that there was a lock on the door. You can get locks now that you can power through your phone or through your voice assistant. Tell it to lock the door and it locks it right away. Same thing with lights. Same thing with, I think you can get Roombas and other things that operate on the voice assistant systems now. All sorts of different stuff. Doorbell cameras, which we'll talk about. But the Echo is cool. It's got great beefed up sound. I heard one of these recently too. I have a couple Echoes that I think I bought in 2018 or so, and the new ones just pale in comparison with the bass and the sound quality of some of the old ones. Now, this one is the Echo. There is also the Echo Dot, which is a little bit smaller and just a little bit toned down version with less bass and less speakers in there. Really does the same thing, but it just depends on what your budget is. For example, the Echo is MSRP for $100. I checked today, it's on sale for $60 right now. And then the Echo Dot is $50 MSRP, on sale for $28 right now. So there's still some great sales going on right now as well. And then the Google version, I've got an image here of the Google Nest Hub, which is a tablet as well as a speaker. Amazon offers the same thing as well. It's called the Echo Show. I just kind of wanted to show you a couple different images of what they look like. So I actually just bought one of these on Black Friday, and it's really cool, the stuff it can do. Now they've got two different versions. The one here on the screen is the Google Nest Hub, and then they have the Hub Max. The difference between the two is the Hub Max has a camera on it, so you can make video calls with people. You can use it to, when Macaulay Culkin was sitting on the chair and he was answering the pizza, he was using his tablet to take a video call from his doorbell, which we'll talk about here in just a moment as well. But those ones have cameras. The Max has cameras, but the regular one, as you can kind of see up there, doesn't have a camera. You can play music, play TV shows with any of your subscriptions, Netflix, Hulu, play podcasts, play movies. And then again, you can make video calls with the Hub Max, which is MSRP for $230, but it's on sale still, excuse me, for $164. And then the Hub, which is on the screen, is MSRP for $100, and it's on sale right now for just $50, which is a crazy sale for this device, in my personal opinion. They sound amazing. The sound is just as good as the little sound, the little speakers that I mentioned earlier, if not better. The Hub Max has a woofer actually in the back, and then two other speakers in there as well. So the audio is actually fantastic. So again, with these things, the tablet ones, you can integrate it right with your Google account or your Amazon account, which lets you control any smart home devices that you have hooked up. You can look at the weather, integrate it with your calendar, do all kinds of different things with it. So just as an example, we put ours in the kitchen. So we actually use it to watch some recipes at the time when we're trying to make dinner, or just put on a TV show, something like that. It's pretty cool to have. So I talked a little bit about some smart lighting, and really now there's kind of two options of how you can do this. They actually make light bulbs now. These are just the GE Sync option, and the bulbs themselves actually work with your voice assistant program, Google, Alexa, and a couple of others. You can control the brightness levels on these, and they even come with some that you can do multiple colors on. They claim that you can do basically every color that there is on the color spectrum with these. Pretty cool how they work. You can set timers on them, control them from afar, turn them off and on if you're on vacation or away from home, set schedules for them to turn on or off at this certain time. You can set routines with these, like just as an example, with your voice assistant, you can set a routine called bedtime. And then you say, Alexa, start bedtime. And then she dims the lights or turns the lights off at a certain room or something like that. So there's different ways you can control these. And I looked at these, and you can get a 2-pack of them for $24. I think they also sell them in 4-packs and maybe more than that as well. But these are just light bulbs, essentially. You can just plug them into any lamp and then control the light in there itself, which is really cool. Or you can get a plug itself, which essentially This is sort of just like the beefed up version of the clapper, right? From back in the day, that was kind of the original smart home, right? But the plugs are cool. You plug them into the wall, and then essentially any appliance that you have with an on-off switch, you can now power with your voice. So if you've got a lamp or a coffee maker or something else like that, you plug it right in, and then the plug itself hooks up to your voice assistant program, whether you like Google, whether you like Alexa, and then you can turn it off and on with your voice. So maybe you've got a lamp that's in a hard to reach spot, or you want to turn the coffee on without getting out of bed, something like that. You can use these sorts of systems to do that. And again, same thing, you can set timers, control them from afar, either with your voice or using an app on your phone. And these ones, you can get a 2-pack for 20 bucks. Anybody use any smart lighting at home or have any of these things at home yet? We've got a couple. How do you guys like them? Yeah, they're pretty handy, right?
My wife likes it.
Yeah.
She just says, Alexa, give me a 10-minute timer.
Exactly. Yeah. Setting timers and things like that. And honestly, these are a great accessibility option too. You know, if maybe there's difficulty turning certain lights on or off, or doing different things with some of your appliances, you can use your voice, and it limits having to, you know, get up and do those sorts of things if there's any difficulty doing that. So there's a nice accessibility option with these too.
And Greg, I noticed you on the smart light bulb, it says works with multiple voice assistant programs.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
You have to buy another type of thing to go with that.
Good question. So the question was, it says that they work with multiple voice assistant programs. So what that means is you've got Alexa, right, which is Amazon's voice assistant. Apple has Siri, which is built into the phone, and Google has it's just called the Google Assistant. And like we sort of mentioned earlier, all of these sort of do the same thing. It just depends on which one you like better, which one you want to support. So just as an example, I'm going to go back a slide real quick. So the Amazon one works with Alexa. So that's how you would address that one and get it to answer your voice commands, versus the Google one, you say, hey, Google, and then tell it to do your command. And again, sorry if anybody's phones or devices are going off from me just saying that. We were doing some testing earlier and I was doing this, and we had somebody's phone going off in the back room. So when we say it's a voice assistant, that's not necessarily something that you have to purchase or a separate piece of hardware. Really, it's just powered through an app. You sign up with Amazon and you've got access to the Alexa service. Same thing with Google. You've got access to the Google Voice Assistant. If you have a Gmail account right now, you basically have access to the Google Voice Assistant and smart home features. It's not something that you have to subscribe to. It's just a feature that they allow so you can control your different devices. Not really a huge difference between Google and Alexa. I'm a little bit biased. I think Google is a little bit better than Alexa in terms of just the breadth of knowledge. I had some Echo speakers, and sometimes I would ask pretty basic questions and I found that it didn't really answer them very well, or it answered something completely different than what I was looking for. But the Google one seems a lot more intuitive. It's just a little bit better in my personal opinion, but that's just my experience with these devices themselves. So I hope that clears that up a little bit. It's just a good Alexa versus Google. Okay, so we talked about some smart lighting options and how you can use plugs to basically turn any appliance with an on-off switch into a voice-powered system. Let's talk about doorbell cameras now. These are becoming more and more popular as people want to monitor their homes, namely their front entryways. They're a great way to ward off porch pirates, make sure family members get home safely, and keep an eye on the comings and goings of your home. And right now, you've pretty much got two main players. There's a couple more, but the most popular ones at this point are the Ring doorbell and then the Arlo doorbell. They both offer, and they look just like this, and they pretty much replace your current doorbell if you have one, or you can have a separate one as well. But you can get wireless ones that you just mount right on the outside of your home, or you can get ones that actually hardwire, directly into your electronic system and can essentially replace your current doorbell. The cool things about these is they not only have a camera, of course, but they have their own apps essentially that can give you notifications when people are at your door or even around the field of vision of the camera. So one of the things I really like about these is You can set activity zones for alerts, essentially. So just as an example, maybe your camera is facing, of course, your patio, but you can see the street also from your home. You don't necessarily want to know every single time somebody drives by on the street or walks by on the sidewalk. So you can tell it to just alert you when somebody's right there on your front stoop, or tell you, customize it as to where you want it to look and alert you. So when I say alerts, you can get alerts right to your smartphones. It'll tell you if somebody's at your door, tell you if somebody's ringing the doorbell. And with these, you can even have video conversations, video calls with people at your door right through your phone, or through the tablet that we mentioned earlier, like you saw in the video. They use the camera. People can even leave messages. If you're not home or you're not able to use your phone to answer the door, they can leave a voice/video message right into the camera, and you can look at it later through your smartphone. Pretty cool what you can do with these. So the Ring doorbell, the kind of standard wired one, goes for $65 MSRP, and then the wireless ones are a little more expensive. That one is $100 MSRP, and Ring has like 8 different options that all have just different beefed up versions, higher resolution, better Wi-Fi connectivity for if you've got it far away. But really the standard one I think is just fine personally. Just depends on if you want to hardwire it into your system or if you want to go wired or wireless, excuse me. The wireless ones have rechargeable batteries. So that's the other things with wired. You'll never have to worry about it running out of battery. But with the wireless one, you'll have to take that battery out every now and then and charge it. And then the same thing for Arlo. Theirs are a little bit more expensive. That one goes for $150 for the wired and $200 for the wireless. The kind of differences between the Ring and the Arlo: the Ring has a colorized night vision. So they shoot things in at night, and then they sort of add a colorization technique to it to make it look a little more vivid. But the Arlo features a wider field of vision. So you can see a little bit more on Arlo. Just sort of depends on which one you like better. But they both do activity zones. So again, you can only get alerts for stuff where you want to see it rather than the entire street. Then you can speak with visitors through video calls through them as well. And with these, they both work with the Alexa and the Google systems as well. So if you've got a Google tablet like the one we showed, or an Alexa tablet, they both work with those as well, or you can use your phone. So any other questions about the doorbells and how those work? Okay, awesome. All right. So up next, we'll talk about just a couple of personal devices, namely some, and I mean these by like wear on your person, or that can just be for you. So smartwatches, we'll talk about some cool GPS locators, which I think can make kind of a great stocking stuffer or a great safety feature as well. And then we'll talk about health monitoring and telehealth a little bit as well. So smartwatches, really the two biggest players right now are Apple Watch and the Samsung Galaxy watches. And with these, it really depends on which phone you have for which one you should get. So what these can do, I think sometimes it gets lost in translation with all the things that they can do. They also are a watch, so they tell time. That's sort of the main purpose, right? But with these, they really pair up with your smartphone's operating system. So you can send texts, make calls, play music, check your other apps and notifications just on your watch right there, excuse me, without having to pull out your phone. So they have pretty decent battery life. Both are about 1 to 2 days of battery life, depending on usage. And they would just use your smartphone's cord to charge as well. And a lot of these feature some really great health monitoring options as well in here. So just as an example, both of these can monitor ECG, electrocardiograms. They can do blood oxygen monitoring and sleep quality measuring. The Apple Watch actually features an emergency SOS system now. It can detect if you have been in a fall or a car accident, and then alert any emergency contacts that you have in there as well. So there's a lot of great safety features built into these too, in addition to just being able to quickly respond to texts or phone calls, and just sort of use your phone, but just on your wrist. So I see a lot of people use these as well for tap to pay. You can set up Apple Pay for your iPhone or Google Pay for an Android phone. And that's just essentially where you don't have to insert your card or even remember your card. You can just tap it right on the little card reader, and then it pays right from there. And that's a secure way too, because you never have to give anybody your card or remember your card. So that's about it with smartwatches, really. Again, it depends on which phone you have, I would say. So if you have an iPhone, I wouldn't necessarily recommend trying to do a Samsung Android operating system alongside an iPhone. It's going to be clunky and a lot more difficult to integrate those different things. If you've got an iPhone, the clear choice, in my opinion, is to go with an Apple Watch. And if you have an Android device, it would be a Samsung or another Android operating system. Now, the prices, like most things Apple, the Apple ones are significantly more expensive for the more beefed up versions, but they actually do have an option now. It's called the Watch SE, and that one starts at $250 versus the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4, which is $300 MSRP. Apple also has, they just came out with this one. It's called the Apple Watch Hermes, I think it's called, and it's sort of like meant to be like a luxury type of brand. And that one starts at like $1,800. It's kind of crazy, the Apple devices. I'm not trying to be harsh on Apple or anything, but sometimes their products are just a little needlessly expensive sometimes. But those are sort of your options for the watches. They integrate great with your phone, let you use your phone right on your wrist. I mentioned GPS trackers. These things are really cool because is there anything worse than losing your keys, your wallet, or another crucial item, right? If only there was some way to track it down, but now there is. These GPS trackers are super handy for maybe, just as an example, I like to play disc golf, and I've got one in my bag just in case anything ever happens to it. I can track it down and find it. You can attach it to your keys. You can put it in your wallet as well, so you can track these different things using an app on your phone. And really, you've kind of got two main options right now. You've got the AirTag from Apple, and then you've got the Tile Pro, or this is the Pro one. There's a couple different options from Tile. That's the name of the brand. And of course, just like the watches and some of the other items, the AirTag is best suited for those who have an iPhone, as it integrates really smoothly with the Apple interface. I've actually seen this. I've seen this done a couple times. I thankfully haven't had to use mine yet, but really they operate on Bluetooth up to about 800 feet or so. And it sort of works just like a compass, where you point it the right direction and your screen turns green and then tells you to go that way towards your device. So if it's lost at home, that's an easy way to find something. Outside of that local Bluetooth network, if they're far away, they track items using other smartphones that are in the area to access that GPS system. I say that these are GPS trackers, but they actually don't have GPS technology embedded in them at all. So just as an example, the Apple AirTag tracks items using the Apple's Find My network. So you've got Find My iPhone, which is just a network that utilizes all of the other iPhones around essentially to sort of just be able to locate them. Doesn't necessarily know. It doesn't mean that it knows where everybody is or where everybody's iPhones are. It just is connecting to that overall network to send you a location ping, essentially. I don't want to get too into the weeds with that because I'm not super well versed on how exactly that technology works, but just know that these also work at long range distances too. They both have replaceable batteries that last about 1 year, is what the websites say, and they're both water resistant as well. One of the nice things about the Tile, as you can kind of see, it's got a built-in loop for a keychain or a strap somewhere. But of course, with Apple, you have to buy an additional accessory to get it to connect. So that they sell a little keychain thing that you put it inside of. I've seen people attach these to dog collars before, so they can keep track of their pets. I've even seen some pretty cool videos where people will put these on free roaming cats and then just see where they go all throughout the neighborhood. It's pretty interesting, actually. And then the AirTag runs $30 for one, or they come in 4 packs for 100. And then the Tile Pro is 35 MSRP. Tile makes a couple different options, couple different shapes and sizes, whereas the AirTag, you just got the one option. So the Tile also makes one that looks like a credit card and it just slips right into your wallet, so you can track it a little bit better without taking up a ton of space inside your wallet. And then there's the Tile Mate and the Tile Pro. The Pro just has a little bit better connectivity and a little bit better long range. So these are pretty cool if you want to make sure that, you know, in today's world, if something ever gets lost or God forbid stolen, you can maybe track it down and get it back. So a nice little stocking stuffer idea there. Okay, let's talk a little bit about telehealth. So, and telemedicine and some health monitoring options. So real quick, telemedicine is the remote diagnosis and treatment of patients by means of telecommunications technology, video calls, voice over IP phone calls, things like that. There are many devices available to help extend one's time in the home and make it easier to measure vitals and share with the physician remotely. So I know that the pandemic really exacerbated the need to be able to meet with physicians remotely, maybe not necessarily able to go into the doctor's office. So there's a ton of different things now that you can connect to your Wi-Fi network and measure your vitals and share them with your physician, or just even measure for yourself if that's something that you want to keep track of. So just as an example, down here on the bottom, I've got a Fitbit. Function pretty similarly to a watch, like a smart watch, but they're usually significantly cheaper. They measure, your heart rate, your blood oxygen levels, your sleep quality, all these different things that they can measure, so you can sort of track that, your respiratory output, and more. And then collected data can be saved and shared over a secure internet connection with medical personnel, with caretakers or family members. This on the bottom is a Wi-Fi connected CPAP machine for some sleep apnea. They can store and send data directly to physicians via a Wi-Fi connection instead of sending in an SD card or a USB stick with that data. So it's just another way to sort of use your internet connection to measure your vitals and make sure that that information is being relayed with the right people if necessary. There's also things like medical scopes and measuring devices now with integrated visual and audio capabilities. So just as an example, a physician can use a digital stethoscope to examine and record a patient's heart and lung sounds during a telemedicine call. Pretty cool stuff that we have the capability of doing now. And there's even smart motion monitors or pressure pads. They can send a signal to notify caregivers or family members that someone has accessed their medicine cabinet or gotten out of bed as well. So there's some great telemedicine options now for ways to measure vitals and keep track of your health as well, if that's something that you're interested in. And I got to throw in some just for fun kind of devices as well. The Furbo treat dispenser is really cool. It's basically just like a little camera that you can stick up in your home and also fill it up with treats to feed a pet from afar. They have two options, one that says stagnant and one that actually swivels 360 degrees. These are really cool. They can see your pet on camera and then kind of follow it as it goes throughout the house. So honestly, a great system for, monitoring pets from afar. Or you can also get alerts on your phone if they're in distress. If your dog is barking, it can send you an alert and you can see kind of what's going on. And then of course you can toss treats remotely to them too, which is really cute. The 360 degree one starts at $200, and then the other one is a little bit cheaper. Again, these connect to your Wi-Fi. We've got an app, the Furbo app, which allows you to take a look at it and do different things. There's also smart plant watering systems out there where you can set water amounts and then the frequency of how often they water, keep plants watered away from home. And of course, never forget to water again, like me every now and then. My poor plants, I'm so sorry, but it happens. But these, a lot of them you can hook up to your phone too and set different schedules and water amounts and all that too. Maybe great if you're growing a garden and you're going on vacation for a couple of weeks. That might be a good solution for that. And I bring up Wi-Fi smokers or barbecues as well, because I think these are really cool. My brother-in-law has one, and he just loves to brag about how he can put his fish on and then go out and then just monitor the temperature and turn it off and on as he pleases from his phone. And some even offer voice assistant integration too, where you can use Alexa and Google to control them as well. So just wanted to share just some other options that show the breadth of what sort of tech is available now, how you can use your voice and different things to control these. So there's a lot of different stuff out there. Okay. Quick summary and sort of shopping tips here. We talked earlier about budgeting 5 to 10 megabits per second or so per internet connected device for optimal results. You want to make sure that all your devices have the speed and the strong connectivity that they need to work right. Again, if you're ever having any issues with connectivity or slow loading times, please call our tech support or member services team. We want to make sure that you have the best experience possible. It's also a good idea to read reviews online. There's a stat out there that says something like 75% of folks read reviews before making a decision to purchase a product, and rightly so, in my opinion. Somebody else's, experience with something could save you a lot of headache in the future. So if you're interested in purchasing something, I would encourage you to read reviews and see what other people are saying. See if a retailer also has a price match policy. That could be a good one that could save you some money. I know Best Buy offers this and a couple of other manufacturers online and in person, but chances are if you see something cheaper somewhere else, you might be able to get it for that same price elsewhere. So it's always good to ask and see if a retailer has a price match policy and see if they'll match the sale from somebody else. All right. That pretty much does it for our presentation today, you guys. We're going to stick around for any additional questions that folks may have, both on Zoom and in person here. You can also email us with any additional questions at hereforyou@directlink.coop. Again, the recording is going to be available at our classes website online within a week. And that is also where you can find additional information about future classes as well.